Today, we're going to be talking about things you should know as a normal person going on a long trek or hike. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. This is My Moxie Life. My name is Martha, and on my channel I post a lot of travel related information and tips and trips that I take, and then also I mostly vlog my work trips. Today we're going to be talking about things you should know as a normal person going on a long trek or hike. So I'm going to go over my top tips. There are 5 of them that I would recommend if you ever decide to go on a long hiking trip. And by long, I mean probably more than 50 miles. Spread out over time, obviously, but we went on a 100-mile trek that took us 9 days, and I learned a lot. And there were some things that I wish I had learned ahead of time, but now I know for future reference. And because I learned, I can tell you. So all the things that I list today or I talk about, I will put links to, and they will be in my Amazon store, which actually does help me out a little bit financially. So if you choose to purchase them, I would like to thank you in advance. And here we go. Okay, the first thing I'd like to talk about is walking sticks. These are the walking sticks that I used. They are by Trail Buddy, and I did get them on Amazon. They are definitely not a higher end stick, but they work just fine. So if you can see, they have rubber tips on them. A lot of people I saw used the pointy tips. I preferred the rubber tips because it felt like they grasped on, and especially when there was slippery things. One main tip that I would like to point out with the sticks is to make sure you have them at the right height. So when you're measuring your sticks, you want your arm to be at a 90-degree angle when you're holding the handle. So, and you want to make sure that your grip is relaxed into the handle, so you're not having to like lean into the stick, which is what I did for the first day or two. My husband recommended that I lengthen them, and I did, and it worked much better. So these are walking sticks. It may seem silly to take walking sticks, but they are actually quite helpful, especially in balancing. We had one day where we were climbing all over rocks and having to like step down really far, and I was so thankful to have these on hand. So I highly recommend walking sticks, and make sure you practiced with them and you have them at the right height. Okay, so walking sticks. All right, one thing that was not quite as important, but I was super thankful that I purchased, and this was kind of a last minute purchase, was this beanie. And I also got this on Amazon. We'll link to it as well. There's many different iterations of this. I just wanted something soft cotton and black. So anyway, this is considered a runner's beanie because it's a little bit tighter, snugger, and it's not made out of like knitted material. I wore this every day. I don't like my ears to be cold when it's windy. It really bothers my ears. So I was able to keep this down. It also just kept my hair out of my face because of when it was windy. That was also kind of annoying. So this was invaluable. Also, I would recommend having a second hat on hand that has a bill or a visor. I just brought a kind of an old baseball cap. My husband had more of like a bigger hat that went all the way around because his neck was exposed. It just depends on what you like. My friend had a kind of a cool looking like Australian hat, and so anyway, I recommend bringing at least a couple hats. If you're fine with one hat, that's fine, but I wanted something that was a little bit warm. And then also with this one on, I could pull up my rain hat as well, because this is not waterproof. So this will be linked in the description as well. All right, the next 2 things I wanted to talk about are kind of related, and it is foot care and footwear. Foot care, footwear. So number 3 and number 4, foot care and footwear. So I'm going to talk about footwear first. So these are the boots that I got. They are the Merrell Moab 3, I believe, and they're great boots. Honestly, they're really good. I don't have any complaints about them other than I should have sized up a half a size. My left foot is bigger than my right foot, and so when we were walking and my feet were swelling, my left foot had issues. So I ended up having to really research, and I had to lace them super creatively so that I would not crush my little pinky toe any more than it already was. And so yeah, I would definitely size up. I don't know if I will be able to use these ever again, except for very short hikes. So this would be probably 5 miles or less, just because that left boot hurts so bad. So as far as footwear is concerned, please try on a lot of different boots. Make sure that you have the right size and that you've broken them in. And when you think you've broken them in, break them in some more. Now these ones, everybody raves that you can just wear them right out of the box. If I had worn these right out of the box, I probably would have been even in more misery than I was. My right foot didn't hurt at all. But they're a great boot. I'm not discounting that, but I should have sized up. So make sure you have the right size. Make sure you really break them in. Break them in as much as you can. Bend them around, walk in them, hike in them, do everything you can to make sure that your feet are going to be okay. We walked almost 100 miles and my left foot was not okay. Not really ever. So that was frustrating, but I made it. Okay, so now foot care. So because I was having issues, I had to become very creative on how to go through each day without being completely miserable. So we're going to start with socks. The two kinds of socks that I tried were the Darn Toughs, which are very popular. They're very cushy. And because my boot was small, I didn't really want the cushy. So I tried these one day and it was just a little too much. My husband loves the Darn Toughs. They're a little bit warmer, so if you're going to be where it's cold or wet, you might want this or a little bit thicker sock. I will link to these as well on in the description on Amazon. The kind of socks that I ended up really liking were these Silver Light socks. So they're a little bit thinner. They're compression around the foot and ankle. And the toes are cushioned. There's no real seams that rub. I never really got any blisters to speak of. So, and that's what they claim on their website, is that you're not going to get blisters. So I really actually loved these a lot. And also they have like a silver thread built into them so they don't stink. So you could go a few days wearing them if you needed to without washing them, which I brought 3 pairs and I really never had to, I mean, I did wear them more than once, but we were able to do laundry and I would wash stuff out in the sink. So, but they never smelled bad. So that was really cool. So that is part 1 of foot care. So part 2 is if you do get blisters or if you want to be proactive against blisters. Number 1, this kind of tape, it is a zinc oxide tape, which you can also get on Amazon. I think it's like 2 rolls for $10. I put this on places where I thought I might get some blisters, like along the sides of my feet and around the backs of my ankles, just in case. And I never did get any blisters. So I was just a little paranoid after my foot was hurting so bad. I didn't want to have any other issues. So that, and then this stuff was invaluable for protecting. Once my toe was kind of messed up, I would wrap this around it. And this is Compeed, if you've never heard of it. These are the bigger pieces. I didn't really use any of these. They're more for like a big blister or something. But it kind of just melds to your skin and it doesn't move and just gives a little bit of, you know, protection against the friction, against any blisters or hot spots that you might have. And that's another thing too. If you start to feel a hot spot or you feel like something's not right, stop walking, put on some of this or both, and take care of that right away so it doesn't get any worse. My husband finally put this on one of his blisters like the last couple days and it changed everything for him. Like he felt much better. So anyway, that is foot care and footwear. All right, so this is my final tip and this is something I highly, highly recommend that we did not do, and it was only because I didn't know. I was new to this whole trekking thing, and so my recommendation is if you decide to do a long walk like this, and maybe you are going through a company, an adventure company, and they're setting up everything for you, I would highly recommend requesting an extra day in between here or there to give you a little extra rest. That was one thing that I felt was really lacking in our trip, that we just weren't getting enough rest and making each day kind of feel really rough by the end of the day. We would start out feeling like okay, and then by, midday, it was just very, very exhausting. So had we built in maybe 1 or 2 days to just kind of stay where we were and get a little extra sleep, a little extra downtime, I think that the walk would have been just a little bit better for me personally. Maybe you're a person who hikes, a lot of miles and you don't need that much rest and recovery. And maybe that's just the challenge of it for some people. But for me, it was a vacation, and I felt like it was, there were times at the end of the day where I was kind of frustrated that I didn't really want to do the next day, but I knew that we had to be at our destination because we had already booked it. So I think that that would be my number one recommendation. If this is something new for you, build in an extra day or two to give yourself a break, to recoup and re-energize. So those are my 5 very important tips for newbies and normal people who want to take long trek walks. I hope you enjoyed this video, and don't forget, the links in my description will lead you to all of these items in case you should need to purchase them. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.